All right, brother. You said that you had also Masonic, right? Masonic,
Well, my career in law enforcement, I actually joined the Brotherhood of Freemasons.
Okay. Yeah, how'd you get into that? How'd you get into that?
Man, you know, a lot of cops are involved with that.
Really?
Oh yeah. It's a thing that I'm not saying you must do, but 95% of them do. You know what I mean?
Now, what's the benefit out of it? Like, what's the main purpose?
Actually,
95.
For me, if you're going to ask me the question, I think it was more like biblical history.
Oh, okay.
What intrigued me the most was they talked about King Solomon's temple and the Holy of Holies, and I've always been intrigued by it.
So this actually exists?
Yes, it does. It's the occult. It's nothing to be messing with. It's 3 phases. The first phase is enter apprentice. Even before you get to that phase, you got to be pretty much spoke about. To be one, you have to ask one. One of my supervisors, he came up to me and asked me, "Hey, you want to join a club?" And I'm like, "What kind of club is it?" Right. Well, it's a Freemasons. I did my background, on them and did my research and seen a lot of positive things that came out of doing the research. A lot of them donate money to cancer victims and children with cancer, and the Shriners, they have their own hospital and so forth. I was in a position where I'm working with juvenile offenders. Well, why not? Why not do something in the outside? So my lieutenant spoke for me and 2 other of my fellow brothers in blue, and they petitioned. We petitioned for a spot in the Brotherhood and filled out an application. They did a background. They do a background on you, see if you're good standing, or else they won't take you. What they do is they take men to make them better. That's what they say. But only God could do that.
Right.
They only get the ones that are like, I would say the ones that are really interested and the ones that are clean cut. See, what they do is they bring you into the temple and they have the secretary, which is a male. We're all males. There's no female Masons here. I know in Europe, I think they do, not here. Unless you're an Eastern Star, that's different. The Blue Lodge, which is composed of all different nationalities and backgrounds of Masons,
right,
to include different religious sets. Hindu, Muslim, whatever. You could be atheist, they don't care. You could be Satan. You could be a devil worshiper. Wow. And they'll bring a devil worshiping Bible right there, satanic Bible, so you could you take the oath. Yeah, they don't care. See, I didn't know that until I started doing more homework on it. What did I get myself into? But
did you ever get that far?
Oh yeah, I became a Master Mason. Okay. I mean, the highest you can go is 33rd. From the ranks of 30th to 33, which is 3. That's when they divulge the actual truth to you.
I got you.
Which they have you in darkness all those years, and then once you start climbing up the rituals and the phases, and you go up the ranks or degrees, you could go from the 3rd degree to the 32nd degree in a weekend.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you could do it in 2 days. They call that the fast track. But usually to get that high, it takes years. Wow. It takes years, but you could do it the other way. You got to pay some money or talk to whoever.
I know some of these rich people, these Hollywood people, they give land, millions of dollars.
Oh yeah. It all depends, because those are called dues, right?
Okay.
And you talking about occultic, satanic individuals that work in Hollywood, reverence of money, of people of power. I didn't know all that. And not every Masonic lodge, I mean, they all talked about the same, but everybody's different. In order for you to be a Shriner, you got to be a Mason. For you to be a Knights Templar, you got to be a Mason. And the more you go up in that pyramid, and the highest you could go is a Rothschild.
Right.
They're the highest of the highest.
Really?
Yeah, they're the satanic children of Satan.
Wow.
They actually sit on the table, and they have a special chair for Satan right there. And he comes and talks to these family members, and they're the ones the shaking and bakers, I call it.
Now, this all has to do also with those people who go out into the wood and they burn that wooden owl and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. You talking about the Illuminati.
Illuminati, okay. So
right.
This has to do with them?
Oh, yeah. You have to be a Freemason to be there. All the presidents were Freemasons.
Okay.
A small portion weren't, but they were Jesuits. This is the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, even the Pope. I'm going to be honest, they don't actually have to do the whole ritual. They have to watch.
Right.
And because of their power and rank within the church.
But it's still controlled by them.
Oh, yeah. Everything is controlled by the white and black Pope. So
Yeah.
black and white, which is white and black tiles, is where we have our temple.
That's where you get that.
Yeah, the
okay.
yin yang, the
Right.
good versus evil. You got to have one of the balance. And that's the work of the devil. God doesn't work that way. He doesn't manifest that way. That's all the trick of the devil. The devil knows the Bible better than me and you put together.
Right.
Because he was there when God was putting it together.
Mm-hmm.
And of course he fell, of course, but he knows. Yeah. A lot of these guys and women, men and women that work in Hollywood, they're all Satanists.
I bet.
All of them are Satanists. And you know what? Anybody could tell me different. I really don't care because I know. Certain hand signs that you do, the pyramid, the rock, Jay-Z calls this the rock, is a pyramid.
Right.
All right? But in that pyramid, there's 13.
Right. You also got the, what was this?
Well, that's the horns of the devil.
Right.
The devil's horns. That's Illuminati. You could use it for the Shriners use it too. That's the Moloch.
Okay.
Moloch is the actual owl that they worship out in California. All these big shots, big corporations, they go there, and that's where they make the presidents too.
Really?
They make presidents there. They know which president they're going to make. They make them. All this political stuff,
right.
That's just BS. That's bullshit.
Why?
That is bullshit. That is the most deceiving thing in America. Rothschilds makes the presidents. They're trillionaires. They own the world. They own like 90% of the world.
Yeah, and plus, if you have all these superstars and all these
You
actors,
control their puppets.
Well, and not only that, they got the money to buy land.
Oh, yeah.
And eventually, there's going to be one government,
Yes.
or one secret government, should I say, the Illuminati or the Masons,
Right.
who will control all this land.
But see, the Masons are the foot soldiers of the Illuminati. You understand the pyramid, right?
Yes, yes.
It's shaped like a triangle, right? So we're at the very bottom.
At the very bottom.
And then above that, you got different families. Above that, you got York Rite, Scottish Rites, which are also sets of different branches of Freemasons. And then you go into Knights Templar, and you got,
So
Shriners.
I guess that's where you get the all-seeing eye from.
The all-seeing eye is Lucifer.
Right.
Underneath them is the Rothschilds. Underneath them is the Council of 13. Underneath them, you got the Council of 33. Underneath them, you got big, different corporations like the CFR.
Wow.
Council of Foreign Relations. And underneath them, you got, like 6 big companies that own all the, they own all the real estate, and they own all, like, media.
Yeah, like those people who are like Warren Buffett, who owns all
Well,
these.
yeah, he's a 33rd.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they own, property, they own land, they own
Stocks, everything.
everything. So you got 6 corporations in the world that owns 90% of the assets and the money of the world, right? So even the Federal Reserve is not of the United States. It's a separate entity that's ran by the Rothschilds. See, the Rothschilds, they run all that from their house.
Wow.
And they live out in England. They don't leave that house.
Yeah, I heard something about that.
They don't leave the house.
Why is that? I mean, is there
Because that's where the devil dwells. The devil could only be in one place. God is everywhere.
Yeah.
You understand?
True. Yeah, because God is he's
everlasting.
He's omnipresent.
Yeah, he's everywhere. You can't put God in there, sir.
Yeah,
He's too big.
And you can't have the devil
No.
everywhere.
No.
He's limited to his power.
One spot.
Amen.
Well, he'll use his foot soldiers to do other things.
Exactly.
They're all demons. They're all demon possessed. They're vessels. They're fleshly vessels that are compartmentalized. They're like shattered. They shatter their brains, and it's just like MK Ultra, right? They use MK Ultra to break the minds of people, and then they mold them the way that they want them to go.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Or satanic ritual abuse. That all comes together with the Freemasons.
So their ultimate goal is pretty much to have one world order,
One world religion,
one world religion, and one world
currency. Yep.
to eventually rule the world,
Rule the world, right?
which is to usher in also
The
mark
Antichrist.
the Antichrist, mark of the beast, and so
Mark
on.
of the beast, right?
So you've seen all this firsthand.
Yeah. Oh yeah, firsthand. I mean, I've seen the rituals. I see where they imitate them trying to kill you.
Wow.
When you get in your masters, they put you like they simulate that they're stabbing you, and they killing you like Tubal Cain.
So in other words, like you almost have to kind of like the way we have to be reborn.
Yes, they're making a mockery out
They're
of
making a mockery.
of baptism.
Right, and it's actually reversed. And you know what? The devil works like that because so if we have to be reborn, they pretty much say you have to kill
die first.
You have to
die.
kill yourself for the devil.
Yeah.
Wow.
So just like like the satanic baptism, they baptize them in blood in like a cast iron bathtub.
Right.
If you see the videos that you see, like this girl named Rihanna is one of them, that she's done blood sacrifices and she's done a blood baptism, but they won't show blood in the bathtub. They show water, but it's symbolic. Their water is symbolic to blood.
Right.
And they have to get in that bathtub. Even Eminem, you see him on one of those magazines. He's just leaning back, bare chested, with blood up to his stomach.
Wow.
In a cast iron, bathtub, and that's how they do their rituals. Everything is backwards.
Who's the other guy? I know. There's a lot of them.
A lot of them. Yeah.
Was it Lil Wayne?
Lil Wayne is another. That's the most satanic one around.
Right,
Him,
yeah.
Little Baby, the one that promotes him. He's a pedophile. He's a fag.
Wow.
Oh yeah, they're all homosexuals. They have to be like the Baphomet. Like is it above? Like is it below? You see the Baphomet?
Yes. He's got 4 arms. Something like that.
No. That's Hindu. I'm talking about the Baphomet is the god of the Knights Templar.
Okay, I'll post a picture as you're saying this.
Yeah.
I'll post a picture.
It's a goat's face with horns.
Right.
Has breast of a woman and the remaining lower half of man, and then the feet of a goat.
Wow.
So they worship that. That's Lucifer. All right. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
They eat fecal matter. They drink urine. I mean, it's disgusting. I never did that. I never got that high up to do nothing like. But when you're up there and they expose everything to you at the 30th to the 33, you're done. You're selling yourself to the devil at that point.
And then not only that, you're sworn to secrecy.
Yeah, you sworn never to divulge any information, but to always protect and help your fellow brother. That's it. But see, if you start exposing them, they'll go after you, they'll go after your family, they'll try to kill you because the government is part of it. It's not only civilians, the government is in cahoots with these people.
Right.
And there's sectors throughout the whole country that's split apart. I don't know if it's northeast, south, and west, but they have witches that are in charge of these sectors and warlocks that are in charge of these sectors, and they pretty much monitor satanic, members. They call congregation too, just the opposite of being a Jesus believer. Right. So they have specific warlocks and Council of 13 witches, which are either male or female, and pretty much they're in charge of thousands of members of the congregations and the local witches and warlocks that are in charge of that congregation.
Wow.
And a lot of them are politicians, heavily involved in witchcraft. And they have to do certain rituals and certain things in order for them to gain favor with the Rothschilds, and then they send orders of doing things for that family.
Wow.
They give them orders, and with those orders money comes with it.
So like the exact same way we try to expand the kingdom of God.
They're doing it the other way. Oh yeah, it's satanic at the core. This whole country is not based upon Christianity. It's satanic from head to toe. Don't ever think that the president is not a satanic worshiper either. Don't ever think. And I'm going to put it out there too. I'm going to put it out there.
No.
Come on. Their God is money. Lucifer.
Right.